Hey guys, it's Roby from Not Feather here, and today we're going to make a 1911 disassembly video. We hope to be able to show you guys how to disassemble and reassemble a 1911 fully to all the internal pieces. Now you've probably seen a couple different videos on YouTube or some other websites where they kind of show you how to field strip, but they don't really show you how to take all the internals apart and how to reassemble the pistol. So that's going to be our goal today. We're going to work with a couple different 1911s here. And if you're familiar with 1911s, you've probably seen that there's different kind of styles, from bull barrels to bushing barrels, different kind of guide rods, from two-piece guide rods, one-piece guide rods, and even the GI spring and bushing system. With that being said, let's go ahead and show you guys our two test guns that we're going to work with. We've got our Dan Wesson 1911 here, and now this is going to be standard 1911, and this one's going to have a bushing barrel. You can see that bushing right there, and it's also going to have a two-piece guide rod. Our other test gun is going to be a Springfield Arms 1911 full rail dust cover, as you can denote by this. And the barrel is actually a bull barrel with a one-piece guide rod. So the disassembly is going to vary a little bit from the other gun. Before we get started, we're going to need a couple different tools, and you guys are going to probably need the same, depending on the type of handgun that you've got here. We're going to need a bushing wrench, and a lot of 1911s that already have a bushing style system are going to come with this in the case. And if you can't find one in your case, you can go to your local gun store or Brownells or whatever website you use, and you can purchase these for just a couple bucks. So you're going to need a set of Allen keys here, hex wrenches. These will let you get into the grips and disassemble a two-piece guide rod, so very useful in what we're going to do today. And lastly, you're going to need a punch. Bring a couple different size punches with you, because you never know what size pins you're going to have to move, push in and push out, and this will allow you to realign the sear and disconnector and different things like that. So once you've got all your tools together, let's go ahead and get started with this video and start working with one of these 1911s. Okay guys, let's go ahead and get started with the disassembly of this 1911. So first I'm going to just go ahead and remove the grip screws so I can take the grip panels off. This will allow us to get into the internals of the gun, and now's a pretty good time because we're going to use our Allen wrench here. Go ahead and pull these off, and then we can work on the guide rod. So go ahead and find the corresponding Allen key for your grips. And then just set both of them to the side. Okay, now we're going to work on the guide rod. So I just preemptively cock back the hammer. That way it's easy to manipulate the slide. A lot of people aren't aware that there is a lot of wear and tear on the mainspring. You know, just racking back a slide on 1911 without cocking the hammer. So just you can ease the whole process by just cocking the slide back. Go ahead and find the corresponding Allen key for yeah, this thing has been on there for a while. Go ahead and set that down. Now, you're simply on a bushing barrel like this, we're going to want to depress the guide rod here so we can use our bushing wrench and basically open up the bushing. So we're going to set it right in there. And you're going to turn clockwise. Alright, you'll have the plug and the spring both come out. Just set those aside. So make sure you turn the bushing clockwise. So this is what normal orientation would look like. So we simply push down on the bushing and then twist. And once you do that, you can actually remove it. So next step is to actually move to the takedown slot pin here, and we're going to pull our slide stop out. So I'm going to rack back to here and then simply just push through the other side. on this end. Okay, and as you can see, the whole upper and the slide just come right out. So you got your frame in one piece, and we've got the other end of the guide rod that sits right here in the barrel. And so remove that, go ahead and pull your barrel out. Take the bushing off, and your barrel will slide right through the front. So that right there is a field strip 1911. So this is probably level 1 of maintenance for any of the end users on the other side of the video. So this is how you would disassemble it to this point. And this is going to be your general cleaning and maintenance. So you'll have a couple of components. You'll have your slide. As you can see, this is a pretty used slide here, well worn. So you'll have your slide, no internals. There is the firing pin and the firing pin stop back here. And you just simply depress that and slide the cover off, and then you can get to that. We have the barrel isolated here. And then you've got your frame. And so the next part of this video, we'll go through the frame and remove all the internal components out of there. Once you get your frame to this state, you'll notice there's a couple set of pins that we're going to have to knock out to get all the internals out of the gun. The first one that I usually start with is the pin that holds the mainspring housing, and you can see this one has a fixed mag well attached to the mainspring housing. Once you remove this piece, that'll allow you access to the beaver tail. So the beaver tail actually has a leaf inside, and that is what is being contained within the mainspring. So it keeps it from going past this position. So we're going to go ahead and drift this pin out. Obviously, it would be better if you had a bench block or some type of device where you could put a pin in or a punch and then knock it out through the other end, but I don't have one now, so I'm just going to knock this pin out and pull the mainspring, and that'll give us access to the beaver tail. Alright guys, as you can see, there is the pin right there. You may notice that I left the actual punch in here. So there is a great deal of pressure on the mainspring. So you're going to want to hold the bottom so that you can let it ease out to avoid having it shoot across the room somewhere. So I'm just going to simply push down on here and then work that punch back out. And you can see it coming apart in my hand. And just pull it out. So this is the this is a Smith & Alexander one-piece magwell here, mainspring housing attached. So you can see how it has slots here that fit in the channel of the frame. So this is your normal position, like this. You can also note in here, if you guys can see in the frame, there is a hammer strut, and that hammer strut is going to push down on this detent in the mainspring. So now you can see how the beaver tail moves, and you can see where it was held in place right here. Okay, let's go ahead and work on the other pins. We'll just push them out. You're going to take your thumb safety here, and you're just going to work it back and forth. It's got tension here by this pin, so just work it back and forth and pull towards you, and it'll come out. Thumb safety's out. And this is another pin that you've got to watch out for in this channel. Make sure you don't lose it. Pretty important to have. It's going to give you tension on your thumb safety as well as your slide stop. So we'll just go ahead and pull that out. Okay. pull out your beaver tail, set that aside, and you can kind of see the orientation of the hammer. This is our mainspring. It actually sits in this channel right here, or sear spring, sorry. And we're going to go ahead and drift these pins out. Alright, you can go ahead and pull out your hammer. As you can see, the hammer has a strut behind it. Set this aside. And then within the frame, you're actually going to have your sear and disconnector, and they'll fall out when you tip over. Okay. So here we have it. We have the frame part. You can see the rest of the pieces: beaver tail, hammer, sear, and disconnector. So you'll note the orientation of the pieces. Now the disconnector is going to fit within the sear. So the sear actually has a groove in it, and that's where the disconnector is going to sit. So inside of the gun, what you're going to have is you're going to have the disconnector with the flat end mating up to the trigger bar. So inside your frame, when you notice it, you'll see your trigger bar, and it moves back and forth through there. And you can see that flat part right here. So when you reassemble, you're going to drop your disconnector with the flat end, and that flat end is going to sit against this trigger bar. Now there is an additional step if you do want to remove your trigger. Just take a flathead screwdriver that fits this slot here, and that'll allow you to remove your magazine catch or your magazine release, and that will free up your trigger to slide out of the frame. So that's it. I mean, these are pretty much the main components of 1911. There is really no further disassembly of the frame. So once you've got all these pieces out, you can give it a good cleaning if you want. Or do whatever kind of service that you need to do. We're going to put some still pictures in there, kind of clarify the orientation of the pieces so that you can see it. It'll make a little more sense at that point. Okay, let's go ahead and start reassembling. So reassembly is actually pretty easy. You're just going to go in the opposite direction of the parts that you took out. We're going to have to do a couple stills because this angle makes it a little difficult. And you may start pulling your hair out trying to get the little pins back, but it's really not that difficult. So we'll go ahead and grab our disconnector here. Like we mentioned earlier, flat portion is going to go against the trigger bar. And there's a channel here that the head is going to stick out of. So you're going to have the top of this head coming out and sticking. So we'll drop it in. If you guys can see where it's sitting, it's kind of flopping around, but we'll get to that here in a second. Go ahead and grab your sear, and you're going to have the hooks actually facing outward. So not towards the frame, away from the frame, because that's what's going to mat up to the hammer. So you're going to drop it in between. This is what I'm talking about, little parts getting in your way. You're gonna have to finesse it a little bit, but once you've got it in place, you can see how it's dropped in there. And you're also going to drive that pin now into this spot. So this is going to be the smaller of the takedown pins. So you're going to align the hole in the sear with your actual small takedown pin. That's going to be this one right here. So we're going to have to fumble around and kind of get the hole lined up from the sear and then drive it through. And that'll retain your sear and your disconnector. So as you can see, I'm going to drop it down through there and just kind of work it back and forth until I can find the right spot. So once you've got it in, your pin is going to sit flush, and your sear and disconnector will be retained. So as long as I hold down here, you can see nothing's coming out. They're sitting right there on the trigger bar itself. And you can move the trigger to manipulate it a little bit if you want. In this step, we're going to go ahead and put the hammer back in. As you can see, it's just going to go in the same orientation it came out. And it's going to mount, this hole is going to align with this upper hole in the frame. So we're going to go ahead and just drop that in there. Put its pin back. And you can see, for the viewers, you can see how the hammer orients in here. Once its pin is in place, it's not going to go anywhere. Its strut is going to stay here. And if you're having problems with the hammer getting locked in a certain position, just pick up on the strut and that'll relieve it and allow you to manipulate it. So what else? So we still have to put the beaver tail back. We still have to put spring and magwell. So let's go ahead and grab the beaver tail. And you're going to go ahead and put your hammer strut down because it's going to ride in this slot of the beaver tail. And that'll give you an orientation view of what it looks like. So it looks more like the gun before you started taking it apart. So you can see how this is playing out. Here on the back end of the frame, as you can see, that strut goes right there between. So now I'm going to go ahead and take this leaf spring and slip it through. So it's actually, pull your strut back and then seat it right up against your sear. And it's got its own groove here where it's going to hook into so it won't fall out of place. Now this is the point you're going to wish you had 3 hands. So we've got this spring there, we've got the hammer strut out of the way. Go ahead and take this beaver tail and drop it in. As you can see, that's how it goes right there. Everything is inside. Now, it's going to take a little bit of manipulating. You're going to have to monkey around with getting all the parts aligned, but it's really not that complicated here at this point. And some people are going to go ahead and put their safety lever on here, and the safety lever is going to pin the beaver tail in place into the frame so it doesn't fall out. You can either do that or you can run your mainspring back in. So if you're going to put your mainspring back in, remember you're going to have tension against this, so you're going to have to hold these parts pretty securely together. Let's go ahead and work with the mainspring here. Now make sure your hammer strut goes into this actual detent here. And this is a really easy part to take apart too. You're just going to drive a pin out and drop it. There's nothing there to really service. Alright, remember you're going to have tension, so you're going to want to keep your eyes clear of this, and you're going to press down and then take your pin and drive it through. So notice how I'm holding it with my hand. Okay, mainspring's back in place. As you can see, the beaver tail is kind of held in place there once the mainspring was put back in. Now we're going to go ahead and take this spring assembly, and this may have flown out when you took your slide stop. We're going to go ahead and put it back in the channel. Now there's only one way that it's going to go. You're going to have the smaller end, which we're going to try to see if we can get it on focus on the camera. Now that smaller end is going to go towards the muzzle. So if we drop it in here, it's going to fit just like so. Now you're not going to be able to put it backwards. The channel tapers in, and the big side won't be able to fall in here. So once we put this assembly in, we're going to work with the slide stop. Now the slide stop, we're going to work with the safety. So the safety is actually going to fall into this hole, and you're going to have to work this portion of it, which I've got some die-cam blue, you can see that. We're going to have to work it through to get it in there. So you can see how it drops in pretty easy like that. You're going to pick it up, drop it in the channel, and you're going to have to work backwards. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a punch and you're going to push against the spring here and then drive the safety through. So I'm going to go ahead and push in, and it'll fall right in place. You can function test it. You should have a positive response because the spring is providing tension against the safety. So that is pretty much your frame put back together. So one hurdle down, a couple more to go. If you want, now you can put your grips back on. Easy to go ahead and do. And they just fall in place just like so. And we're going to go ahead and put the screws back in, secure the grips, and then we'll work on reassembling the slide so that we can complete the disassembly. Alright, so we've got our grips back on. Panels are back. We went ahead and put the Allen wrench on them and tightened them up. Note of caution, don't over tighten these. You could strip the bushing and then you'll have to replace the bushing, or you can strip the screws, and they're just kind of a pain, hard to find one or two when you need them. So go ahead and put your frame back together. So as you can see, you can function test it. Now I wouldn't continue to dry fire this, so I'm going to just ride the hammer with my finger because you're going to put a lot of strain on the frame if the hammer just keeps falling and hitting. So as you can see, I've got my thumb in place and I'm dry firing. And that'll allow you to see that you have tension, everything is operating as it should. Go ahead and pull that hammer back. Positive tension. Now we need to start with the slide. So we'll bring our trusty slide back out here from the Dan Wesson. And if you need to take your firing pin out, you're just simply going to put a punch in, press down, and that'll allow you to take the back plate off. You can get to your firing pin, the back plate, an extractor if you have an internal extractor gun. As you can see from this gun right here, the extractor's on the outside, so this is an external extractor gun. So you don't really need to remove this, but you can if you need to. You're just going to simply drive out a pin right here, and that'll allow you to get access to the extractor. Alright, with that being said, let's get back to the assembly. So, two-piece guide rod system. You're going to have some tension there, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put the barrel back in. Just take the barrel, drop it in from the front. Go ahead and take your plug here. You can see that we've got a little blue bushing there for shock absorber. Going to go ahead and put it back in the orientation that it belongs. Like so. We're going to take our spring, drive it through the front, and mat back up to the surface. So this is how it's going to be encapsulated in your slide here. Right, before we do that, let's go ahead and put this bushing back on. So you're going to note where there's a detent in the actual slide, and we'll just slip that bushing in there and kind of work it through and twist over to the side so it's out of our way. Go ahead and put your spring back in. Get it all nice and tight. You're going to match your frame rails to the rails on your slide. Put them through, and you can see how it engages as such. Now you're going to want to make sure that you've got that barrel link in place with the hole in the frame for the slide stop. So that's important. Try to get it all aligned. As you can see right there, we've got it all. It's clear. So we can go ahead and work our slide stop back in. Take your slide stop. Can only really go in one direction here. Go ahead and work that. Now it's got to go through the link of the barrel. So make sure it goes through. And this is an important step right here. A lot of times on 1911s you'll have what they call like the idiot scratch or the idiot mark right here along the frame, and that's from dragging the detent across the frame. So you're not going to want to do that. You're going to want to provide some tension and then have it drop through. So tension against this part of the spring and then simply work it through. Get your slide back into that spot so that you can drop this through. And there we go. So that's going to hold your barrel and your slide secure to the frame. You can see it's not really going anywhere. It's not going to fall out. So you're almost done here at this point. So we're going to work with the 2-piece guide rod, put it back in, and then we'll swing the barrel bushing, and that'll complete the disassembly of this gun. Now you're going to be working with a little bit of tension here. It's not a lot, but kind of keep your hands clear of it if you can. And yeah, as you can see, we've twisted the bushing so that it's encapsulating this so it doesn't shoot out. We're going to take our bushing wrench here. Push down on it and work it up. So you heard that positive click, so all of that's in place right here. Take your guide rod here, stick it through the front, work it through, and use your Allen wrench and just tighten. And that will get you all assembled here. Go ahead and give it a good little bit of force there. You're going to want to keep that pretty snug. So we've got the slide assembled, frames assembled, and the guide rod's back. Cock your hammer back, function test your slide, rack it a couple times, put it in the slide lock back position. Go ahead and check alignment. You can check down through the magazine well here, or look at the barrel. You can notice that the barrel's not moving, guide rod's here, everything's in place. So this is fully assembled, pretty quick and easy. We hope that this worked out, helped you out immensely, so this is a good way to service your weapon. Go ahead and let the slide go forward. Operate your manual safety. You can press and function test the rest of the safety features. Go ahead and dry fire a couple times. And that's it. That is a quick and easy disassembly, full disassembly of a 1911. So if you guys have any questions, we'll jump, feel free to comment. We'll jump to some of the specifics of a bushing barrel or a bushingless barrel and kind of show you a little bit how that differs. Go ahead and give it a good little bit of force there. You're going to want to keep that pretty snug. So we've got the slide assembled, frames assembled, and the guide rod's back. Cock your hammer back, function test your slide, rack it a couple times, put it in the slide lock back position. Go ahead and check alignment. You can check down through the magazine well here, or look at the barrel. You can notice that the barrel's not moving, guide rod's here, everything's in place. So this is fully assembled, pretty quick and easy. We hope that this worked out, helped you out immensely, so this is a good way to service your weapon. Go ahead and let the slide go forward. Operate your manual safety. You can press and function test the rest of the safety features. Go ahead and dry fire a couple times. And that's it. That is a quick and easy disassembly, full disassembly of a 1911. So if you guys have any questions, we'll jump, feel free to comment. We'll jump to some of the specifics of a bushing barrel or a bushingless barrel and kind of show you a little bit how that differs. Okay, so you can see that this is our bull barrel Springfield Armory Tactical 1911. So bushingless barrel, bull barrel, a lot thicker than your standard barrel. There is no bushing, so the wrench is not needed at all. But that's going to pose an interesting question on disassembly. So on your guide rod here, there's actually a little hole. Once you rack back your own slides, you'll be able to see it. There's a little hole there, and what we use is a paper clip. And we're just going to take a paper clip and shove it in that hole, and what that's going to do is keep the guide rod in a certain position so that it relieves tension on the spring. So put that paper clip in there, and then let your slide go forward, and then you can work your disassembly like normal. So we punched out that, pulled it out. As you can see how the slide is set up here, and this is a one-piece guide rod with a bull barrel. So that pin would allow this spring to compress, which would allow you to pull the guide rod out. So it makes it a lot easier disassembly. But functionally, everything else is the same between these two. So if you want, just review the once you put the paper clip in there, just review the earlier portion of the disassembly of the video, and it'll walk you right through it. So we'll go ahead and put this right back together. Line up your frame rails with the channel on the slide. I'm going to go ahead, make sure that barrel link is in place. Drop your safety, rotate over, and you're going to remember, you're going to get back to the detent here. It's going to be the first detent going from the right to the left, and you're going to work that to where the slide stop goes, and then push that in. That'll help you avoid the idiot marks. Okay, you can notice our slide stop's back in place. Slide fully functions. Good to go. So guys, hopefully this disassembly video aids you and helps you out in disassembling your own 1911s. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them below, and subscribe to the channel. Once again, we thank you for watching this video, and have a good day.
Pretty good.